Welcome to our channel. Today, we're exploring a world you might not expect in your pocket change, the most valuable Roosevelt dimes. These coins may look ordinary at first glance, but some are hidden treasures that collectors would love to get their hands on. A small coin. A date you've probably seen many times. And a reminder that even the simplest coins can have unexpected stories. That's how we begin today's list. The first coin we're looking at might seem like the last thing anyone would pay attention to. You've likely handled one without thinking twice. It's the kind of coin that gets tossed into a jar, dropped into a vending machine, or handed back as change and forgotten by the time you walk out the door. But as every collector learns sooner or later, value doesn't always come from age or from precious metal. Sometimes value comes from how a coin survived, what condition it stayed in, and how unusual that survival is. And that brings us straight to the 1984 P. Roosevelt dime. This dime was produced at the Philadelphia Mint during a decade when the mint was focused on keeping up with national demand for circulating coins. The United States economy was growing, electronic transactions weren't common yet, and physical coins were still needed everywhere: stores, banks, parking meters, pay phones, arcade machines, buses, and almost every daily purchase. Because of this, the mint operated continuously, pushing out millions upon millions of coins every year. The 1980s were not an era where the mint slowed down to perfect every strike. The machines were designed for speed, reliability, and high output. That meant most of the dimes struck in 1984 came off the presses quickly and moved straight into giant bags where they hit and scraped against each other. Anyone familiar with coin production knows that this alone creates marks, tiny scrapes, and surface contact that limit how perfect a coin can be. The Roosevelt dime design itself had already been used for decades by that point. With Franklin D. Roosevelt on the front and the torch with branches on the back, the design was simple and practical. The dime was also small and easy to carry, which made it one of the most used coins in circulation. Because of its size, it was also more vulnerable to marks and wear, meaning nearly all examples from the 1980s show immediate signs of use. Collectors understand that modern dimes, especially from the 1970s and 1980s, were not treated as collectibles when they were made. They were everyday coins with no special finish, no silver content, and no limited release. Most people wouldn't bother saving them unless they came directly from a mint set or a fresh roll. And even then, the quality inside those rolls wasn't guaranteed. The Philadelphia Mint, unlike the San Francisco Mint, wasn't producing proof coins in 1984. It was strictly focusing on circulation strikes. These coins were produced using dyes that were sometimes heavily used, which caused softer details in Roosevelt's hair, the rim edges, and the lettering. As dyes wore down, the metal flow changed slightly. Lines became less sharp, the torch details on the reverse sometimes faded, and the fields, the flat areas of the coin, developed slightly uneven texture. Because of all this, collectors rarely expect a 1984 P dime to show perfect luster or flawless surfaces. Even the coins that never saw circulation often show contact marks from the minting process itself. So when someone finds an absolutely clean, untouched example, it instantly stands out. The interesting part of modern coin collecting is that rarity often has nothing to do with how many coins were made. Instead, it depends on how many survived in top-level condition. Tens of millions of 1984 P dimes exist, but only a tiny number have survived with the kind of perfection that collectors look for. Most were spent, used, tossed, scraped, dropped, and worn down from everyday life. Over the years, collectors began paying closer attention to earlier modern dates. They realized that dimes from the 1980s can be unexpectedly hard to locate in premium condition. High-grade collecting became competitive, and registry sets pushed collectors to hunt for the absolute finest examples. With so many collectors chasing perfect coins, the top-graded pieces became the main focus. Eventually, one particular 1984 P dime surfaced that immediately caught attention. It carried a level of sharpness that was far beyond what most coins of this year show. The surfaces were bright and smooth with no distracting marks. Roosevelt's profile was sharply defined, and the lettering had clean edges. The reverse design looked fresh, with the torch and branches showing full detail. The luster, the natural shine created when a coin is struck, was even an original, something that's especially hard to find on a coin from this period. When this coin was submitted for professional grading, it received an extremely high grade that placed it at the very top of the population report. Among all the millions of coins minted, this one example stood out as a near-perfect survivor of an otherwise very ordinary year. For collectors who compete for the finest known coins, this instantly became a priority piece. Once the grade was confirmed and the coin entered the marketplace, the interest around it grew quickly. Registry collectors, those building sets of the highest graded coins, recognized it as a key piece that could elevate an entire collection. The fact that it came from a high mintage year made it even more interesting, because it proved how rarely such a condition is found. When this coin finally appeared at auction, the bidding reflected its unique combination of condition and scarcity among top-grade survivors. Collectors understood they might not see another example like it for a long time. And as the bidding continued, the final result became one of the most talked-about surprises in modern dime collecting. This single 1984 P. Roosevelt dime reached a price of $69,000. The next coin on our list moves us into 1999, a year that marked the end of one decade and the beginning of a new chapter in collecting. It was a time when the Denver Mint was running its equipment at full capacity, keeping up with national demand as the country shifted into a more digital age but still relied heavily on physical currency for everyday transactions. Out of that busy production year came the 1999 D1 dime, a coin most people still encounter today without giving it a second look. The Denver Mint in 1999 was known for high-volume efficiency. Coins moved through the system rapidly, from the moment metal strips were fed into punching presses until the finished pieces were released in large batches. Every step emphasized speed, blanking, upsetting, striking, and bagging were all done with the goal of sending millions of coins out to the public as quickly as possible. This environment created plenty of small differences from one batch to another, mostly unnoticed by the average user but very important to collectors who study details closely. Because of the high-speed workflow, the coins produced that year often showed small surface marks or faint handling traces created during the packing process. The large canvas bags used at the time contributed to small contact points and minor scuffs. These subtle imperfections didn't prevent the coins from being fully functional, but they quietly reduced the likelihood of finding any surviving 1999 D dimes in exceptional condition. This is exactly why certain modern dates develop unexpected interest from collectors. Some years that seem common end up being extremely challenging when it comes to locating coins that are free of even the smallest marks. And among the Denver-made coins of the late 1990s, the 1999 D dime became known for having a very low number of top-quality survivors. When collectors examined this year more closely, they noticed something interesting. While many coins looked acceptable at arm's length, very few held up under magnification. Tiny abrasions, soft edges on certain details, and small handling points were extremely common. Over time, collectors realized that finding a flawless example in this date was much harder than expected. That's what makes the standout example of the 1999 D dime so important. This particular coin showed an unusual uniformity, something far beyond the typical Denver strikes from that year. The surfaces were smooth across the entire coin, with no scattered marks that normally appear even on uncirculated examples. The luster was even and uninterrupted, flowing consistently across the fields without the breaks or dull patches commonly seen from the quick production process. Collectors who examined it noted the clarity of the fine details, the edges of the lettering, the contours, and the subtle line transitions all appeared sharper than what is normally found. The quality suggested that it came from an early die state or from a moment when the striking equipment was functioning at peak efficiency. Whatever the circumstances, this coin was preserved in a way that allowed none of the usual small flaws to take hold. When this dime was graded, the result placed it at the highest end of the known population. And with modern collecting becoming increasingly competitive, especially through registry building, this immediately turned it into a desirable piece. Registry collectors often search for the finest examples for each year and mint mark, and when one coin stands alone at the top or shares that position with only a very small number of others, it becomes one of the most pursued items in its category. The interest in this 1999 D-dime grew steadily as its grade became more widely known. Serious collectors understood that it wasn't simply a clean example, it represented the highest quality that had appeared for this date. With coins from late 1990s Denver production often showing minor production-related flaws, the existence of such a clean specimen made it even more distinctive. By the time this dime made its way into an auction, collectors already understood what it represented. It wasn't viewed as a rarity in terms of mintage numbers, but as a rarity in preservation, an example that somehow avoided the usual marks that nearly every other 1999 D-dime carries. The bids reflected not only its attractive appearance but also the recognition that it stood above what was available on the market. As the auction progressed, the value climbed gradually, driven by collectors who understood how rarely coins of this quality appear. It wasn't the kind of sale where the number jumps suddenly. Instead, it moved steadily upward, each bid acknowledging the competitive importance of having a top-graded modern coin. And by the time the auction closed, the final total reached a level that clearly showed how seriously collectors value the finest survivors. The winning bid settled at a notable figure, $44,000, paid for a coin that most people wouldn't pause to examine if they saw it in their change. This result shows one of the fascinating sides of modern collecting. Even a common date can hold a hidden standout, and when that standout reaches the highest grade, it becomes something far more significant than its everyday appearance suggests. The 1999 D-dime is a good example of how condition continues to drive interest in modern issues, especially when the supply of top-tier pieces is extremely limited. Up next, we move into a year that feels far more recent than the dates we usually think of when talking about valuable coins. The year is 2007, a time when many people were starting to rely more on digital tools, yet coins still played a strong role in day-to-day payments. The Denver Mint was operating steadily, producing large amounts of circulating coinage to keep up with nationwide use. And from that year came the 2007 D1 dime, a coin that millions of people still come across today without realizing that an exceptional example from this year would later become one of the standout modern finds. Coins from 2007 were produced using well-maintained machinery and updated processes, but even the most modern systems don't eliminate the natural contact that happens during mass production. Blank metal discs traveled through fast-moving equipment, were pressed at high speed, and were then collected in large containers alongside thousands of other coins. Even if the strike quality was good, the environment itself made it very difficult for a coin to remain untouched. Collectors who study mid-2000s Denver issues have found that many coins from this period share subtle signs of their production environment. Under magnification, small contact points show up along the surface. Light scuffs can be seen in open areas where coins brushed against one another. Even very minor friction marks appear near the rim, created during handling before the coins ever reached circulation. These details are normal for coins of this era, but they have a big impact on how few can achieve top-tier grading. Over time, people searching through bags, rolls, and bulk collections noticed that truly pristine 2007 D-dimes were harder to find than expected. Many looked appealing at first glance, but even a single faint mark under magnification is enough to hold a coin back from the highest levels. This created a challenge for collectors who focus on modern series, especially those building competitive sets where every grade point matters. This is where one particular 2007 D-dime stands out. The coin that gained attention didn't simply look clean. It showed a level of preservation that collectors rarely associate with a coin from this year. The fields, the smooth open spaces, were uninterrupted and bright. The fine elements of the design showed a sharpness that suggested the die was in a strong early state. The luster, which naturally appears when a coin is struck, moved evenly across the entire surface without any broken spots or patches. Even the areas where contact marks typically appear, spots most collectors check first, were completely free of distractions. When specialists examined the coin closely, they noted that it wasn't just better than average. It was better than nearly every example known for the entire year. Its surface is held up even under detailed magnification, which is usually where flaws finally become visible. With nothing to hold it back, the grade it received placed it in a category reached by only the highest preserved examples. Collectors who follow the modern market took notice immediately. High-grade coins from recent decades have become a major focus for registry builders and advanced collectors who want the absolute best examples of every date. For them, it's not just about owning the coin, it's about owning the finest known version or one of the very few that achieve the top levels of preservation. As this 2007 D dime became more widely known, its importance grew. It stood as proof that even recent coins can be challenging to find in near-perfect condition. Collectors understand that a coin doesn't need to be old to be valuable. It needs to be difficult to replace. And this example quickly showed that it would be nearly impossible to find another one with the same level of sharpness and freedom from marks. Beyond its physical condition, the coin also reflects an interesting aspect of modern coin production. It shows how even in a period of high efficiency and advanced technology, the majority of coins still receive minor imperfections during striking and handling. This makes coins like this one all the more remarkable. They are the rare survivors that escaped every small blemish that affects so many others. Collectors often point out that coins like the 2007 D dime teach an important lesson: rarity isn't only about low mintage numbers or historic significance. It's also about quality. A coin that looks ordinary to most people can be extraordinary to those who understand what it takes to reach the top grade. In many ways, this dime has become a benchmark for excellence among modern issues. The recognized value of this exceptional 2007 D dime continued to rise as more collectors learned about its grade and rarity in top condition. People who specialize in modern coins understand that high-end examples from widely circulated years often become centerpiece items in their collections. The value is driven not by mintage numbers, but by the incredibly small percentage that survive in outstanding shape. Today, the known value associated with this standout 2007 D1 dime is $28,000, placing it among the most impressive modern condition rarities of its era. It's a reminder that remarkable coins can come from any year, and that modern issues continue to surprise collectors who look closely. A coin many people still spend without noticing ended up becoming a premium example simply because it avoided the small marks and handling that affect nearly every other piece from the same production run. And for collectors who understand the importance of preservation, it stands as a perfect example of why attention to detail can make all the difference in determining a coin's worth. Now let's move on to a coin from a very recent year, one that most people still handle without a second thought, yet for collectors it has unique potential. The coin is the 2014 P dime. On the surface, it may look ordinary, but for those who understand the nuances of modern coin collecting, it holds a surprising level of interest. By 2014, the Philadelphia Mint had a well-established system for producing millions of coins with consistent quality. The equipment was modern, the dies were carefully monitored, and the striking process was designed to maintain uniformity across huge production runs. Yet, even with all these safeguards, coins could still show minor variations or escape in nearly perfect condition, making them stand out to collectors. One reason this 2014 P dime is noteworthy is its exceptional condition. Even a coin minted less than a decade ago can show wear, contact marks, or small abrasions from handling. Most coins that circulate experience friction, scratching, and pressure from bags, rolls, and machines. But this particular dime seems to have avoided all of that, preserving its original luster and the sharp details of its design. Collectors often look closely at the fields and rims of modern coins, because subtle imperfections are common even in new releases. The fields on this dime are smooth and bright, with virtually no disruptions. The portrait of Roosevelt and the torch design on the reverse are crisp, as if the coin had just left the mint. These details make it immediately apparent to experienced collectors that this is not an ordinary circulated coin. What makes this dime even more interesting is a rare error that appears on its surface. Minting errors can take many forms: die misalignment, double striking, or minor metal flow issues during the press. Most errors are small and overlooked, but when combined with a coin in pristine condition, they create a rare combination that collectors prize. This dime contains such an anomaly, subtle enough that casual observers would not notice it, yet clear under careful examination. The rarity of this combination, perfect preservation and a striking error, is what makes the 2014 P dime appealing. While millions of dimes were minted that year, only a small fraction avoided even minor marks, and an even smaller fraction carries an unusual error. Coins like this show that even modern issues can become extraordinary when they survive in top condition. Collectors also value this coin because it illustrates a broader principle in modern numismatics: age alone does not determine significance. While older coins often gain attention due to scarcity or historical importance, modern coins can be highly desirable if they demonstrate superior preservation or unique features. A coin that looks ordinary at first glance may, in fact, be one of the best examples of its type. In addition, the 2014 P dime is an example of how meticulous preservation can transform a coin into a collectible piece. Many coins from recent years are handled frequently, even in banks or cash drawers, which reduces their appeal for high-grade collecting. A coin that avoided circulation and maintained flawless surfaces is instantly more attractive for those who build registry sets or focus on condition-specific collections. Errors on modern coins, like the one on this dime, are particularly intriguing because they are often subtle and unexpected. While older coins may have well-documented or famous errors, modern mint errors are harder to track and verify. This makes discovering such a coin exciting for specialists, as it represents something unusual in a very large and otherwise consistent production year. The 2014 P dime also demonstrates how condition and rarity in modern coins influence collector behavior. Many collectors focus exclusively on older issues, but coins like this remind us that the potential for a standout coin exists even in recent decades. A combination of pristine surfaces, full luster, sharp design, and a rare error can make a coin highly desirable, even if it was minted just a few years ago. Beyond condition and anomalies, coins like this one also tell a story about modern minting practices. They show how even with advanced technology, unexpected variations can occur, making certain coins unique. Each coin that survives untouched is a testament to the careful preservation by collectors or those who initially handled it. Finally, this dime serves as a reminder that collecting is about more than age or mintage numbers. It's about the story a coin tells through its condition, features, and survival. This 2014 P dime is a testament to that principle. Its preserved surfaces, coupled with a rare minting anomaly, make it a coin that could be considered valuable simply because it avoided the wear, marks, and imperfections that affect most coins from the same year. In the world of modern collecting, this dime stands out as a prime example of how attention to detail and an eye for condition can transform an otherwise ordinary coin into a remarkable find. It demonstrates that even the most recent coins have the potential to become noteworthy and desirable additions to a collection. And for collectors who enjoy hunting for these rare survivors, the 2014 P dime is proof that even modern coins still hold surprises waiting to be discovered. Its combination of perfection and a subtle error ensures it will remain a point of interest for years to come, showcasing the continued fascination with coins that stand above the rest. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into these remarkable dimes, don't forget to hit that like button. Be sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you won't miss any of our upcoming videos on rare coins, collector tips, and hidden treasures. We love sharing these stories with fellow coin enthusiasts, and your support helps us bring even more exciting content your way.